Hey guys, how are you? This is Miss Doctora. I'm fired up. Are you fired up? Are you ready to go? Welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for those of you who checked in with me. Some of you sent me emails, some of you just responded on discussion boards. It's really good to hear from you. I hope you guys are staying safe and healthy during this time, and so your families. And I mentioned it last time, but I just wanted to reiterate it to you about the importance of structure and routine. I don't know how you felt, but when I found out that the school suspension is extended through at least May 4th, it was pretty hard for me. I miss you guys. I miss our classes, our, Friday things and whatnot. So we all wanted to have some free time, don't get me wrong, sleeping in a little bit and all that. But this was kind of forced on us. It was not done on our terms. So I've attended a few webinars about the impact of, coronavirus and the quarantine on people, mental health primarily. And kind of one of the main themes is in this pandemic is the loss of control. We don't know how long it's going to be. We don't know how bad it's going to be. We really don't know much of anything. So, and this was forced on us, right? It's not like you know that summer break is coming and you're ready for this. No. So it's really important to reestablish some sort of control in your life at this point to keep yourself sane. So try to create a structure, when during the weekdays you get up at decent hour and, try to do a little bit of schoolwork, at least here and there, maybe schedule time when you're going to go out for a walk. But try to maintain some sort of structure, kind of set meal times and whatever. It is going to be really important for you to stay healthy and, keep your mind in the game, so to speak. So try that. Thank you to all who responded about the I have good feelings, and kind of one of the key theme that we've seen throughout all your posts was the fact that it was really good for the most part. There are lots of things that were good outside of the panic of 1819. So the Panic of 1819 was the first economic devastation that we've had. We've had it in the Great Depression later on. We've had a recession in 08, the most recent one. And chances are we might be facing another one after the pandemic. So I would encourage you to kind of look more into the causes of some of the devastation back then in the Great Depression, kind of think about what is going on and why. But importantly, it was in 1819, but to counteract that, there were a lot of measures taken later on that helped develop our industry, our production of goods, with our transportation system that helped going back and forth to markets. So economy in the end of Monroe's presidency was doing pretty well. We did recover from the Panic of 1819. It's important to establish that. There are a few other great things that we did in terms of international expansion and international relations, right? You've mentioned the easing of tensions with Great Britain with the Rajbagot Treaty. You've mentioned getting Florida from Spain. With Adams on his treaty, you mentioned the Monroe Doctrine. However, it's important to view what it took to get to those points. Those decisions were pretty reckless. You need to realize that. Andrew Jackson completely disregarded what the government was telling him to do. So imagine that today, one of the Border Patrol generals, commanders, whatever, decided to just invade Mexico without the permission of the government. Is this something that we need to applaud? Same thing with the Rajbagot Treaty. We were in a naval standoff with Britain, with having warships just pointed at one another. Is this something that we should be particularly happy about? But the main kind of thing is also about the Center Square celebration. If you look closely at that picture, you will see that it's filled with military, so soldiers and captains and whatnot, with merchants and upper middle class people based on their clothing, and they're all white. So the era of good feelings was a pretty decent time if you were upper middle class and white and military, because they had quite a lot of successes. There's only one person of color, which is a child in pink suit in the front, and he looks scared. It's a boy. And he looks scared and he's running away. This is to symbolize that this era of good feelings and the celebration of the 4th of July in that picture primarily was to show, was only for white upper middle class people. People of color were not included. Poor people were not included. And it was not a universal time of yay, hooray, and celebration. So when we say it was the era of good feelings, it's always important to ask for who? Who was included and who was not? So the Native Americans were certainly not included. People of color were certainly not included. We still have slavery with the Missouri Compromise. In the end of the era of good feelings, Monroe steps down after 2 terms, similar to George Washington following his presidency. And this is where we have a pretty interesting election of 1824. There are 4 main candidates: Andrew Jackson, John Quincy Adams, the son of the second president, John Adams, William Crawford, and Henry Clay, the author of the Missouri Compromise, the War Hawk, etc. So we know some of those players. So let's play a game. Why don't you assume one of the candidates? And I created some assignments to kind of balance people around. Look up those candidates and try to create election tweets. You're trying to promote your candidate. You can be the first person or third person, whatever you feel. So somewhat biased, somewhat propaganda style like, but factual. And you can talk about their accomplishments. So for Henry Clay, you can talk about how he was a war hawk. You can talk about their background, whether they're rich or poor and what it means for the election and who would vote for that. You can talk about their views on the 4 major topics of the day, which is slavery, tariffs, so taxes on imported goods, internal improvements, which is like creation of roads and infrastructure that's paid by the government, and national bank. Should we have it? We still have this massive debate about it. You can also do a little bit of negative advertising. I mean, trash each other a little bit if it's factual, right? So if you find that there is a skeleton or secret in one of candidates' profiles, you can kind of mention that. You can respond to one another as well. If someone says that they are pro-slavery, someone can say how it's terrible or something like this, okay? Include the links to the where you found the facts. Don't worry about MLA. Just plop the link in the end, okay? Use good sources and let's have fun. So start with the first post and then just respond to one another. Let's try to engage with one another, because I think we all can appreciate a little bit of connection together. All right, I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.